Are you aware you're muted?
How's that now?
Good. Great. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Our budget committee chair is not present, so I'm just going to step in and get the meeting started. But first we have the Urban Renewal Agency Budget Committee, and just want to welcome everybody here. It's May 25th, 2022. And first we'll get started with the roll call.
Jessica Andrade,
Present.
Ruth Causey, Catherine Bisco, Matt Lehman,
Here.
David Lowe,
Here.
Teresa Nielsen,
Here.
Chaz Jones,
Here.
Julie Connor,
Here.
Chris Costella, Candy Cates,
Here.
Spencer Irwin, Christopher McMorrin,
Here.
Van Hunsaker,
Here.
Jeff Schminsky.
Here.
And it sounds like we have a quorum.
We have a quorum. We have 5 of the 7 council members. Councilor Bisco is going to be joining us closer to 6 o'clock. She had a conflict at 5:30. So just Councilor Causey that let us know she wouldn't be able to be here. And then from the budget committee members, Chris Costella and Spencer Irwin, that stays us 5 of 7. So we're 5 and 5. We can proceed.
Okay, thank you. So with that, we have minutes for the Urban Renewal Agency that I would welcome a motion to approve or to modify.
So moved.
Second.
Excellent. I have a motion made by Councilor Lehman and seconded by Mr. Hunsaker. All in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries unanimously. And then I'd like to open it up to visitors' comments. Chelsea, do we know if we have anyone signed up to give comment?
I do not believe that we do, no.
Okay, no one's present, so we'll go ahead and close out the visitor comment period. And then next, we have the budget. We have a discussion regarding the potential approval of the budget document by the budget committee. Mike, do you want to make any statements here?
I can take care of that. What I'm going to do is I put together my staff report for you all. And part of that report is on another report, it's a summary, it's a fund summary. It shows what we gave to you at the beginning, proposed budget, and then a column with changes in the final budget. However, this was the URA, it had no changes, so we can proceed to adopt, approve the budget to the council for approval or adoption, and then that'll be one motion. And then the second motion would be where you're doing the motion to raise the taxes by dividing the taxes, the property taxes. So that's pretty much it for the URA.
So we have a couple of recommended potential motions here on the staff summary.
Right.
Well, I'll make a motion that the budget committee approve a budget for the Philomath Urban Renewal Agency for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023, with total requirements of $3,200,863 in accordance with the foregoing summary of funds and changes, further recommending that the approved budget for fiscal year 21-22 be adopted by the Philomath Urban Renewal Agency.
Thank you for that. I have a motion by Mr. Hunsaker.
So
Seconded.
hang on,
Oh,
I got a boo-boo in there. That's fiscal year 22.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Oh, goodness.
I should have saw that. Correct.
Dang it.
I was just reading it.
Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry.
So, Mr. Hunsaker, you'd like to amend? or
Yeah,
restate your motion with that 2022-2023 year? Okay.
Yeah. Do I have to restate the whole thing? Oh, no.
I'd like you to.
Or give him a donut. one of the other.
I'll have to talk with your wife.
So we have a motion made by Mr. Hunziker,
And
and
second.
seconded by Councilor Nielsen. And noting that Mr. Spencer Irwin has joined us. Thank you. Good to see you, Spencer. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Lehman.
Just out of curiosity, why is it labeled now the South Beach Fund?
Oh, my goodness. Right. Oh, Lord.
South
I thought I fixed that.
Yeah, it says right here, Urban Renewal Agency dash South Beach Fund.
That can be scratched. Scrivener error.
I thought maybe someone was planning a trip to Miami.
I was gonna say, wait a minute.
I didn't see a line item for that, but you know.
I didn't give it to Chris to review. That's the problem.
It's in the total at the bottom as well.
Yep, I got that. Two scrivener errors.
Start.
And should we assume that the rest of the numbers are appropriate, accurate, and
Oh,
relevant?
South Beach.
The numbers are fine.
So that it's, South Beach is mentioned twice on the document,
And if that, if it's a scrivener error, I will correct that.
on both, twice, but. Okay. Tk you for catching that, Councilor
Thank
Lehman.
you.
I think they're in the new age, should consider naming it South Beach.
People would be moving in.
Might get more in.
Yeah, a little more.
I'm seeing
Exciting.
pink condos in our future.
That's right.
Tourist strategy.
The South Bank of Marysville.
In South Bend. I like it. Any further discussion or comments or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor of passing the budget for Urban Renewal Agency as stated, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you for that. And then we have a proposed motion for the approval of an ad valorem property tax rate.
Christopher's itching. Well, I can see it.
I move that the Budget Committee for the Philomath Urban Renewal Agency approve a request for the maximum amount of revenue that may be raised by dividing the taxes under Section 1C of Article 9 of the Oregon Constitution, with no amount being raised by the imposition of a special levy for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023 for the Philomath Urban Renewal Agency.
Second it.
Great, thank you. We have a motion made by Ms. McMorrin and seconded by Ms. Cates. Any further discussion or comment, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor of passing the motion as stated, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Looks like motion carries unanimously. Thank you for that. And with that, we will adjourn the Urban Renewal Agency meeting. Nice work, everyone. You're here. We're going to call to order the City of Philomath Budget Committee meeting for May 25th, 2022. First, I get started with the roll call.
Jessica Andrade,
Present.
Catherine Bistro, Chaz Jones,
Present.
Matt Lehman.
Here.
David Lowe,
Here.
Teresa Nielsen,
Here.
Ruth Causey, Julie Connor. Here. Chris Castella, Candy Cates,
Here.
Spencer Irwin,
Here.
Christopher McMorrin,
Here.
Van Hunziker,
Here.
Jeff Sheminski.
Here. Okay, and with that, it appears that we do have a quorum again, so thank you for being here. And first, we have potential approval of the minutes. Does anyone have any comments, concerns, edits, proposed edits to the minutes? Seeing none, I might welcome a motion to approve the minutes from May 4th of 2022. Motion made by Councilor Lehman. Seconded by Mr. Schminsky. Any further discussion? All in favor of passing the minutes as moved, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, please raise your hand and say nay. Seeing none, motion carries unanimously. With that, we have visitors' comments. Chelsea, has there been anyone signed up
No.
for visitor comments? No. And seeing none in the room, we will go ahead and close the visitor comment period. With that, I'll pass it off to Mike to discuss the potential approval of the budget document.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. My report basically went over everything that we went through the last meeting and gave you kind of a detailed look how it's going to affect the budget. And then I prepared a report, numbers. The first was verbs, letters and all that. And here we go with the numbers. This is my summary report. And I put over on the summary report a description of what we did. So the first thing that we did was we affected the city council where we had the caucus membership increase of 50,000. Here we go. Wrong number. And then we corrected state share revenues by 14,000 and added 3,007 for the RAIN program, which reduced the contingency by a total of $18,000. So this is where we're getting precise. The next item, we switched the way we're handling the franchise fees for Pioneer and Republic. So we increased our transfers to the street by $67,000. Then the net effect hits the contingency. That's where I did my final accounting. The net effect to the total, we added $17,000 to the contingency. But there's an offset contingency up in the city council. There was that reduced contingency by 18,000, so it went down by 8,000. So that's why I say we're getting precise. When I gave you guys numbers the last time, I was getting close. I didn't have the correct numbers, so this is how we ended up. The net effect was $84,000 increase to the general fund requirements. So that's the general fund. We increased that by $84,000. Then you go through the pages on land and building is the next change. So turn the page. Fund 41. We added the skate park, so by $25,000 there for the feasibility program, the grant. Go to, flip the page and you go to, where's the other one? One more. No, that was revenue. That should have been in there. Hang on. No, that's pretty much it. That's the effect of the changes. Everything else, the revenue, the Pioneer was all revenue. We don't appropriate revenue, so there'll be no change there. So all we did, the net effect to the changes that the budget committee has made is $109,000. So that shows on the last page. I gave the resource requirements, a total of what the city, so you can see where the 39 million comes from when you get to the agenda, when you for your motion. The 39,000 is what the budget is for next year for the governmental and proprietaries. Does not include the URA. URA is separate. They're a separate entity. So when we do budgets, we do them one at a time. That's what we just did. The last one was 3 mil, almost 4 mil. This one will be 39.3 mil. So, and then I gave you a breakdown of each fund that showed all the categories that we have to report. The next time around, when I come to council with the approved budget, I won't be doing categories. That is more for this group. This is where you work in the details. When we adopt when the council approves the budget, it's the bottom line that we do. So that is my report. It leads to the motion, and the motion has a boo-boo in there. Again, I was consistent. auditor would like that. I was consistent. Wrong year, it's 22, 23, so whoever has the honor of reading that, please make that change. And Mr. Mayor, that's my report.
So are there any questions, comments, concerns, proposed changes to the budget at this point? Council Lehman?
Yeah, it seemed like when we decided that we were gonna approve the additional $200,000 for the streetscapes project, that was targeted to come out of the street reserves fund. And now it looks like it's being pulled from the LID project, which also is coming out of the street reserves fund, but I just wanted to make sure those lines were connected somewhere.
Oh, boy, let me look, I know, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, it's general street fund dollars, so we allocated set amount there, and I'd have to look through to see what it was. Most of that was geared towards the 11th Street LID project. We recognize we're not going to support that project now. It's still budgeted, so we'll just use those budgeted dollars towards the increases towards
Right,
the streetscape project. Where it's gonna catch up to us is next year when we look at the capital improvement plan, we're gonna have to recognize that we thought we were gonna have $200,000 there. It's not there. It got spent on streetscapes. And so we'll need to look at what we have in street reserves and make that update to the capital improvement plan at that time. So we can get by this year without having to change anything in the budget. If we wanted to, go through the process, we could transfer another $200,000 over and move it, but the fact is that money's sitting there and we know it's already allocated. So that is the intent, is to use that 200. We're not spending on 11th Street, we'll spend it on streetscapes. Next year, we'll need to look at the budget and see what we need to allocate for 11th Street if that's the project's going to proceed.
So my only concern is that between now and then, we could potentially have a whole entirely new city council and mayor that doesn't understand
Mhm.
all that stuff. So I'm just wondering if it's worth the effort to make it so that whoever is looking at this next time understands what happened, not having to dig around, hey, where'd that 200 grand go?
Yeah, we definitely make note of it. Maybe when it comes to the city council, we can make note there and track it at that point, maybe a good footnote
yeah.
as to what project's there, but it's not uncommon to get midway through the year and have one project disappear and another project come up.
Right.
Typically, like, it's discussed and talked about at the council level. So this is just happening in the budget approval process as opposed to post the budget approval process, but that's probably the most appropriate time. Get to city council, we'll add that into the memo.
Yeah, we can make, but no, that's a good idea.
Street fund.
Would it work to, by the city council, take that money in this year's budget, 21, 22, take it out of the 11th Street project, just put it back into the street, and then for this budget, it just comes from the street fund?
It's all 22, 23 budgeted money. There isn't any 21, 22 construction money for 11th Street.
Well, if we're not doing, if you're not doing 11th Street, why would we put any in there for 2022, 2023?
Because it was put in there in the capital improvement plan before we discovered that we weren't going to be going forward with it. So at the time it was put in the capital improvement plan, and at the time it was put into the budget, the intent was to still move forward with that project. Today, sitting here, we know we're not going to do that project, but the money's still there. We're going to redirect it to the streetscape project.
But that's, so it was in this year's budget.
2022, 2023. It was in the 2022, 23 budget to do this next year. Yes. Starting in July. So this summer, as of July, we were going to do that project. Now we're not.
And that's my point. You're reallocating the money to put in there this year, and you're not doing it. So why say you're doing it?
We're not. We're saying we're going to use that money for the streetscape project instead of 11th Street.
See why I raised the question?
I mean, we could amend the capital improvement plan and say, no longer doing 11th Street, we're now doing streetscape project, but whether we do that today or we do that in 6 months or we do that in 9 months, that's gonna be the end result, is we're gonna update capital improvement plan for 2023, 2024 to reflect the fact that we didn't do 11th Street, as well as probably a couple of other projects in there that we're being ambitious and wanting to do. And we may have other projects that take priority throughout the year.
Maybe you have some thought on that.
It's not, it's just a separate question.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm sure this has already been taken care of with city council or whatever. I just want to make sure. So for this 11th Street project, we haven't already like assessed any like thing of the residents there, right? Like, okay, so this is all just street funds flowing in that. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions, concerns?
I have a question. Would all these budget worksheets be corrected as far as the date, and it says City of Newport and all that, would those all be corrected?
Yes, I have them circled.
Okay, thanks. I like, because it's the wrong
That's
year.
what you get for
and city-
using templates from other places.
It's okay.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
But they're templates that you're familiar with and they're easy to work with.
Yeah.
You're familiar with.
Some similar footers and whatnot, but yeah, those are curvatures there, so we'll get updated before it goes to the council.
It's the first round, next budget, if it has all that, you know, it's.
Then it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Here, I'll pull the Harry Carey.
For now, though,
Yeah.
you're all right.
Sorry about y'all.
Does anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns? If not, we do have a proposed motion that could be used.
I'll move. I move that the Budget Committee approve a budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023 for the City of Columbus, with total requirements of $39,380,035 in accordance with the foregoing summary of funds and changes, and further recommend that the approved budget for fiscal year 2022-23 be adopted by the City of Columbus City Council.
So I have a motion made by Councilor Nielsen and seconded by Mr. McMorrin. Any further comments? Okay, seeing none. All in favor of passing the motion as stated, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Please raise your hand and say nay. Seeing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And with that, we also have a proposed motion regarding the tax rate.
I guess I can just be the
Mr.
tax guy,
McMorrin?
yeah. I move that the budget committee hereby approve taxes provided for in the city of Columbus budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023 at the rate of 5.3005 per $1,000 of assessed value.
I second it.
Excellent. We had a motion made by Mr. McMorrin and seconded by Ms. Gates. All in favor of passing the motion as stated, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Raise your hand and say nay. Seeing none, motion carries. Excellent. With that, that's all we have for this evening. Unless there's something that the city manager would like to
I'll
add.
just add, I appreciate everybody's efforts. Thank you for being here tonight. This will now go to the city council for approval. We've talked about this a little bit. There's minor adjustments by state law that the council can tweak the budget. But again, just based on how the proceedings went, I don't foresee a lot of that, but you're welcome to come to the council meeting. There'll be public hearing and opportunity for the public to provide comments, for or against, just like any other topic comes before the council. And then they'll have a second meeting in June to give a final vote and get the budget approved right before we roll over to the new year. So again, you're welcome to attend those meetings. It's not a requirement, but happy to have budget committee members there if you'd like to be there. That's all I've got. Thanks again for all your effort this year.
And with that, I would like to just thank you all. Really appreciate your effort, your time. I know time is in short supply these days, and having you here participating and volunteering your time is really, really appreciated by not only myself, but I also know the staff as well. So thank you. And with that, we